Well, I think Cambodia is a country that has its hands full with its own domestic challenges. It's a country with a poor human rights record, as your introduction pointed out with those various statistics. It's an incredibly poor nation, and it's just ill-equipped to meet the basic needs and rights of refugees. And for that reason, Australia shouldn't be sending people there.
But these people have risked death and injury across seas to escape the persecution in their homelands. Wouldn't Cambodia be preferable to what they left?
Potentially, but I mean, I don't think the fact that people who've fled Syria end up in Cambodia and might not face, some imminent threat to their life, that's not the measure of success. These people have fled pretty appalling circumstances more often than not, and our treatment of them needs to ensure that they're able to get on with their lives in peace and security. And in Cambodia, they're not going to be able to do that, or at least it's going to be incredibly difficult. The other thing to note really about that Cambodia arrangement is that it comes at a time when there are more refugees in the world than there has been since the end of the Second World War. And at this time of unprecedented need, wealthy, developed nations like ours really need to be stepping up to the plate and sharing responsibility, not paying off impoverished nations with poor human rights records to shift responsibility elsewhere.
Daniel Webb, I noticed that you're also concerned about, and it's a smaller detail in what's gone on today, and that is the government amending the Maritime Powers Act. Why should that bother you?
Well, the government, in the bill that was introduced today, seeks to amend the Maritime Powers Act to basically say anything it does at sea under that act isn't unlawful just because it might breach international law and just because it might breach fundamental principles of fairness and natural justice. Now, that's significant because the government is basically trying to give itself the power to do whatever it wants at sea, regardless of what international law says and regardless of what natural justice requires. It's also significant because the Immigration Minister and the Prime Minister consistently front the Australian public and say everything we do at sea is consistent with international law. But if they really believed that, why would they be trying to give themselves a licence to breach international law?
All right, Daniel Webb from the Human Rights Law Centre, thanks for joining us this afternoon.
My pleasure, thank you.